Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast. We're back. We're refreshed. We had a little week off last week. We've done so many, and it wasn't the most inspiring action last week. So we're ready for York next week. Please look out for our podcast coming up on Tuesday, previewing the first couple of days at York. Adele will be back with us then, and we've also got one on the Thursday previewing the final couple of days. Adele, you have returned to us. Lovely to see you. How's things?
All good, yeah. It's just a very busy time of year, but all good. I'm flat out with the Yorkshire racing, but we've had some great race days. I'm looking forward to the Ebor Festival next week. Some nice horses there. Absolutely, where you'll be on ITV duty for the team up there, and we'll be chatting on Tuesday. Jonesy, how are you? Now, I know we had a week off last week, but you and your value rater boys were in fine form, weren't you? Or you banged in a few winners again. You've been in good nick.
Yeah, I can just about remember. I can't remember the name of the horse, but it won the 2-year-old race at Newmarket, which was good. So I can't remember what happened yesterday. So, but I do remember. Remember. Yeah,
it won the Sweet Solera, did it? Is that right?
Yeah.
What was something it called?
It was Andrew Boulding's.
Yes, it was.
And it was interesting because I think it was those colours that one of the Costellos that used to be with Becky Curtis, blue and yellow colours.
Majestic Glory, was it?
Majestic Glory. Thank you, Adele.
That's why we pay you the big bucks. There we go. Thanks, Adele. Good. Right. A couple of things to tell you about. So first of all, let's give you the offer, the ongoing offer to make you aware of. If you don't know it already, 0% commission on all sports for 30 days. That is from when you sign up to the Matchbook Exchange. 0% commission on all sports, not just the horse racing. That's a belting weekend of horse racing coming up. Don't forget, the Premier League is back, so you might want to use it for that. You'll likely be getting best odds anyway with the exchange, but all the more likely with 0% commission. You must use the bonus code INSIGHTS for that 18 plus. Be gamble aware. I'll also ask you, if you don't mind, if you're enjoying all of our content or any of our content across any of the platforms, please do leave a review on iTunes or your preferred podcast app if you're listening to us. If you're watching us on YouTube, and there are a few of you doing so at the moment, please do give us a thumbs up. That is very welcome if you like our content, because it makes all the difference. Thank you. Right, let's get stuck into the first of the races we're going to be previewing. It's the 8 ITV races. It's very simple for you. The Denford Stakes, first of all. This is the 145 at Newbury. Masekela, talking of Andrew Boulding, is 2.25. Bayside Boy is 2.63. Seattle King 5.5. Rob John 17.0. We're into the bigger prices off the back of that. The prices are correct at the time of this live broadcast. You two are singing from a similar hymn sheet here. None of us are with Masekela. You like Bayside Boy. Steve, first of all, why?
Yeah, I was just very impressed with Bayside Boy at Newbury last time. Didn't look completely... This was the debut for Bayside Boy and didn't look completely 100% professional, which is a good sign. Wasn't really travelling and then suddenly picked up when everything came together and beat a horse called Find of John Gosden's, who had some really good form before that. He'd finished... Well, they hadn't won, finished 5th at New Science on his debut. And New Science obviously went on to win at Ascot, the listed race, beating Angel Bleu, who went on and won the Vintage Stakes a few days later. So that was a good starting point for Find. And then Find finished second to Lusail, who went on and won the July Stakes. So if you take that Find is run somewhere near his form of his previous starts, and let's not forget that experience counts for so much in novice races, in my opinion. And Bayside Boy on debut was able to beat a horse with really, really good form. And I know Find got a bit unsettled in the stalls, but they came miles clear, and I thought it was really impressive. And I know that Masekela has got the form in the book, being second to Native Trial in the Superlative Stakes, but I just think Bayside Boy takes any step forward from that. It's going to be a really smart horse, and I think that's what we'll see from Bayside Boy.
Adele, is there a case for you that Bayside Boy should be favourite?
No, I don't think so. I think Masekela showed enough to warrant being favourite. You know, you can argue that if he'd have maybe got going a little bit sooner at Newmarket last time, he might have won. So yeah, I think he's a very worthy favourite. I just think that Bayside Boy is open to a numerous amount of improvement. So that's why I've sided with him. I think at the prices, I'd rather side with a horse that I think has still got a lot more to give. That was a very smart debut. I would, if there was a few more runners, Rabjohn, I think he's crying for a step up to 7 furlongs. He's got loads of stamina in his pedigree. There's only 6 runners, so you're not going to back him each way. But I think he's one to note for the rest of the season. See where he goes after. See how he gets on over 7, and then see where he goes next. Because I do think he's a horse who's going to be appreciating the step up in trip. But Bayside Boy, from what we see on his debut, Steve's already mentioned everything that I wanted to say anyway. And I think at the prices, I'd have him on side rather than sticking with the favourite. It's a bit short for me.
Yeah, 2.25 then Masakela. Bayside Boy is 2.63. I'm going to go for Seattle King here, the Kingman colt for Rafe Beckett, who I was pretty impressed with at Salisbury. It wouldn't be a big stakes, it'd just be a small stakes single for me, win only bet. I like what he did at Salisbury, who green early, and then as the race developed, he learnt plenty. The key point though is Rafe Beckett's juveniles they have sprung into action. So I think he's had something like 4 of his last 7 winners have been 2-year-olds. I think 3 of them have been first up. And I normally expect them to take a step forward as well. He's had some really nice juvenile runners of late in the last 10 days or so. And I think this horse should take the step forward. Interesting enough that they're going up in grade straight away. And I think he's quite smart, to be honest. So Seattle King is just a price selection. I really like Masakela. I just don't want to get involved right at the top of the market when there are so many open to improvement. So Seattle King for me. Right, let's kick on. 2 votes for Bayside Boy there, 1 for Seattle King. We'll kick on to the next contest we're going to be previewing. This is the Fillies Handicap at Newmarket. And right at the top of the betting, we've got Midra 4.0, Gulwar also at 4.0, Eileen Dover 6.0, Military 2 Steps 8.5, Quenelle Dole 9.0, bigger prices the rest. Oh, I so nearly went Eileen Dover, but I've chickened out. But Steve, you've done it for me. Go on. Why Eileen Dover?
Yeah, I just don't understand why she's been ignored in the markets to some extent. If you go back to the winter game, she was just such an impressive winner of 3 bumpers, and they could have sold her for any amount of money. And she was sent off even money for the big mare's bumper at Aintree at the Grand National meeting, and she didn't run at all badly. She was a bit free in the early stages, which might have counted against her, but that was not a bad run. And she looks the type to me to switch into the flat that will do really well. And although you could say she's been a little bit disappointing in that she hasn't won a race, they've been over 1.5 mile listed races on the last twice. And certainly last time behind Golden Pass, she didn't run at all badly. I think this track and the step up to 1.6 miles for Suter, I expect her to be ridden prominently. And I just think that she's a really smart mare with a fair bit of experience, but still with that, because she's only had the 3 runs on the flat rather than in bumpers, which is obviously flat as well. But she's open to a lot of improvement. So I think she'll put it all together today or Saturday.
We know what you're saying. Know what you're saying about the level of bumpers. Adele.
Oh, I thought, to be honest, I did think this was a bit of a tricky race. I do like Eileen Dover, and I would really like to see her get back into winning ways, because we always thought she could win a nice race on the flat. Midra, I think, is weighted well to win. I was hoping Military 2 Step cross. She handled Chester, which is quite a sharp track, and she won over 2 miles around there. So I think 1.6 miles should be fine for her. I do think there's a lot more to come from her as a stayer. I was just hoping that maybe if she got on the front end, it wouldn't be a great amount of pace, but I would fear Midra might just take her on for the lead. It might just set one up for being held up. But I like Military 2 Step as a horse. I think she's quite she's uncomplicated, and I think she's got a lot more to give as a stayer. So I think 1.6 miles is right up her street. So I'm going to stick with her. It won't be a race I would go wild in, to be honest with you. As I said, I would fear Midra at the more, because I think she's weighted well enough to win, and I think she's still progressing very nicely.
Jonesy, did you want to come back in with something?
Yeah, just after Adele mentioned Midral, I think this is fascinating that Midral, she won at Wolverhampton 4 days ago, or 4 days prior to this race. William Haggis doesn't do that very often, so I'm fascinated by that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He wouldn't be doing it unless he was pretty confident she'd come out of it really well. I didn't like it, but I mean, that it always worries me, and I would rather side with Gulwar, who I thought should be clear at the top of the betting. And the fact they're 4.0, the pair, Martin Dwyer is riding out of his skin at the moment. He's absolutely flying, and we know what form Andrew Balding's yard are in. I thought she won well at Kempton last time. I think the step up and trip will definitely suit. My slight concern before going through the race was that she tends to be ridden off it. But then, as Adele pointed out, there are a couple who should go forward here. And it's not cut and dry that you have to be on the speed at the July course. So I just thought she should be shorter in the betting. I know her 2 wins have come on at Kempton, but she ran fine at Ascot with a little bit of ease in the ground. Don't expect the better ground to be a problem. She's very lightly raced on turf, and I thought she should head the betting. This 3-year-old, who, you know, their allowance at this time of the year, the further they go in trip is definitely a plus. So I was with Gulwar at the prices at the top of the betting at 4.0 because I thought she should be a little bit shorter. So one shout for Eileen Dover, 6.0. Adele's with Military, 2 steps, 8.5. And I'm with Gulwar at 4.0. On to the next contest. And we're back to Newbury. The Grey Horse Handicap, the 235. 6 furlongs for this. And I love this race because the fact that it's the Grey Horse Handicap, but it doesn't necessarily make it all that easier. Oh look, no, we'll go back to the 220 at Newbury. Apologies. We'll stick in order. 220 at Newbury then is the Geoffrey Friar, 1 mile 5.5 for this. Hakum, unsurprisingly, right at the top of the betting, given what he's shown so far. He's been in really good nick. Owen Burrows has got some nice horses running this weekend. Golden Pass is next for Hugo Palmer at 7.0. Red Verdun next at a slightly bigger price of 11.0. Then you've got Pablo Escobar at 12.0. Bigger prices the rest. Adele, I'll come to you first if you don't mind. Who do you like and why?
I think Hookam's the worthy favourite, absolutely. He's already proven at the level. He does have that penalty, so... and at the prices, you kind of mad, I suppose, not to have a little place bet on one of the others. And Golden Pass is a filly that I've been following because when she won at Thirst, the actual travelling head lad come up to me. I was race day presenting and he said to me she would win. So I quickly ran on and stuck £100 on her. And so I followed her then for the rest of the season. And she hasn't done a whole lot wrong, to be honest with you. There's not, she wasn't beaten out Pontefract. She came 3 wide that day. Ryan Moore kind of saved a bit of ground up the inner. And she's continued to improve. She ran well at Newmarket as well. I don't think there's a whole lot of pace on for the front end. So I thought maybe if she does get on the front end, she does idle a little bit though. I still think there is a lot more to come from her. I don't think she's 100% genuine. So I just thought maybe that if she got on the front end, she gets into a nice rhythm. I can't see why she wouldn't finish in the first 2. She's not badly priced, I don't think. You could play her at the place market.
So yeah, when I suppose the key point being that if the dead 8 slow up, you'd be interested in playing at the place market at 7.0. So would you do even match those stakes, win and place?
Yeah.
I'm going to go Hakum. I know Steve is as well. I'm not mad about the price, and it wouldn't be a massive bet, but I do think he is just so far clear. He is at the ratings, but I think he's just too good. We know that the track is no problem. He won well over this course and distance last year. When he won this race last year, it was probably slightly easier ground than they're going to get. And he has always been a horse who I thought doesn't mind a bit of dig in the ground. But I hope we're not dealing with very, very quick ground. I can imagine this has been the plan to come back here. The Wonderful Tonight form is rock solid behind Broome and Wonderful Tonight from Ascot. So I think he should be at the top of the betting, and I could half see him being slightly shorter than that in on the day. So Hukum's small stakes for me, but I found him, Jonesy, pretty difficult to look beyond.
Yeah, he's just so solid. Everything he's done. I mean, you can say the ground, but he didn't run badly in the Ledger on quick ground last year. Funnily enough, he's a full brother to Bayed, so they've got a couple of good ones out of the mare there. And Hookam's just, I know he's got the penalty, but he just looks head and shoulders and the rest above this field. I think he's a really nice horse. And although it's not my style really going in on short ones, I think you'll find worse sort of 2.0 shots across any day of the week. I think he just wins, doesn't he?
Just wins. Yeah, I'm finding him really difficult to look at. I mean, with Adele, I hope, Adele, that your selection finishes second. Genuinely, of course. But I think he should be too good, personally. Let's kick on from the Geoffrey Friar. Hukum looking to double up. Now we're going to the Grey Horse Handicap. And Mitros on Fire is 6.0, Case Key 6.5, Devil's Angel 7.0, Cahors 7.0, My Style 7.5. Then we're into the double figures. Do you like this race, Steve, as a sort of spectacle?
You know me, I always like something different. So yeah, it's good fun, isn't it? I don't see why people would look at something like this negatively, because it's just a bit of fun.
I don't know what
we all need a bit of that.
I don't know what my mum would be desperate here, because she always like, I love a grey. She's not going to back everything in the field.
Well,
money then.
Times have changed for your mum at the races. There were days when all she was interested in doing is keeping you away from the hog roast.
That is very true. I didn't know where that was going, and I'm quite happy we just got to hog roast. So that's good. Who do you like, Steve?
I like last year's winner, so I'm going for Hukum to win 2 Geoffrey Friars, and I'm going for My Style to win 2 Grey Horse Handicaps. I think this has probably been the plan for My Style for a bit. It's certainly well treated on last year's form, because My Style won this race and then followed up in a big field handicap at Ascot over similar 6 furlongs. So I think won this race off 72, won the Ascot race off 76, and is 74 today. I thought last time My Style just looked like he was running into form. He got messed about a little bit. He's got a bit of ground to make up on Devil's Angel, but I think he can do that. Finished his race really well, and so I'm hoping for another grey day for My Style.
Let's see what you do. It's going to be a great day for one of them, isn't it? Adele?
I like Devil's Angel. Megan was absolutely gutted when she missed the ride on him down there last time. She gets on really well with him. She does have to produce him quite late, but there's pace all around her, so she should be able to just drop in, hopefully. But like I said, she will need to produce him just on the line, because if he hits the front too soon, he can throw the race away. So I think Devil's Angel's a great price for this race. I do. He's only ran at Newmarket once. He liked it, enjoyed it, won there. I was actually talking to the Titanium Racing Club. They were sponsoring at Ripon the other day. Really looking forward to it. This horse, he's still progressing. He's a great horse for that syndicate. He's not ran that many times, and I still think he's still got a bit more to come. I like to go for horses that I think are still progressing well, and I think he's one of them. It'd be nice to see Megan rewarded with a winner after I think she missed 2 winners that day when she was banned.
Yeah.
Mortifying.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think Devil's Angel's got a great shout. Megan's won on the horse before, so she knows exactly how to produce him. You make the point he probably doesn't want to hit the front too soon, and then he proved himself at the track on quick ground last time. I think that's the key. I think that there is enough pace on. There tends to be in this race as well. Because we know what sort of ride he's going to want. He's going to want to be covered up. A £3 rise for last time, I think, is fair enough. And I'd imagine that this was the obvious place to go off the back of that win a month ago. 7.0 I thought was fair. Win and place for me. Would you go win and place as well, Adele?
Yeah, absolutely at that price. Yeah.
Jonesy, are you just straight in on the win, last year's winner? You are, aren't you?
Yeah, of course.
So,
I mean, it's not a bad each way race though. 10 runners.
No, but you're brave, as we know, given that shirt. I said I wouldn't mention it. Let's kick on to the next. The 7 furlong, the well-named 7 furlong handicap, the 255 at Newbury. Ratos is 3.25, Sunset Bay 4.5, Agile, sorry, is 5.5, Magical Wish is 7.5, Starshiba 11.0. We are into the bigger prices off the back of that. Straight back at you, Steve. What you got?
Very tricky race for me, this. I went round in circles a few times. I can see why Aratus would attract people winning over by 7 lengths last time at Doncaster. That was seasonal reappearance and after a wind operation. So you would think that there's maybe a bit to come from Aratus, but Magical Wish is the one I've come down on. I thought that he was very good at Goodwood when winning that big field handicap down there. And I didn't think there was a lot of pace in this. And although he didn't make the running last time, he has done in the past. And he doesn't seem to have any problem with the ground, even though it was soft at Goodwood. He won on quicker before. And he's well handicapped on his form of last summer. He won at Doncaster off 95. And even though he won at Goodwood last time, he's still in 93. So I think if he is given a prominent ride by Pat Dobbs, I think he's probably got as much chance as anything in the field. But again, I'd say it's a trappy race.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. It is trappy, but I quite like Holly Doyle's mount here. Sunset Bay for Holly and Ed Walker. I couldn't say was massive value necessarily, but she's very progressive. I love Cable Bay as a sire. She's versatile. She won over course and distance on easy ground and then won at Sandown. I thought that was possibly a negative at Sandown last time, but she won easy as you like under Ashim Murphy. Holly Doyle takes over. I think we'll have the race run to suit. One of a couple of progressive 3-year-olds in the race, I know, but and Ed Walker's horses are going along really nicely. I like the fact that she does stay further. They've tried her over further. I think she'll get a strong pace to aim at. We know the track suits, and I think she's very progressive. I think she'll make up into actually a really smart filly in time. Adele.
I agree, yeah. I thought Aratus was very impressive when we've seen him on his reappearance, but he didn't really beat a lot that day. So I don't really like to go for horses that haven't really beaten a lot. I know he won quite impressively. I like to go for horses that you know what you're going to get. And I think you know what you're going to get with Sunset Bay, as you've already said, Tom. She's very versatile ground-wise, so I presume it'll obviously be on the quicker side. I presume there at the weekend. She won on soft, she won on good to firm. She looks quite straightforward from what I can see. Her only bad run, I suppose, was when she ran over a mile. So 7 furlongs looks right up her street. I think we've seen the best of her at Newbury last time out on the quicker surface. So a repeat of that performance, I think she should be the top of the market. If she puts up the same performance as that she did that day, I think she's the one to beat.
Yeah, she's 4.5 currently. I think is very fair. Josie, I should have asked you, Magical Wish, what market are you playing in?
Small in the win market.
Okay. Small in the win. And I'd be obviously with market Sunset Bay. Adele, I assume you are the same.
Yeah.
Lovely job. Let's move on to we've got the easy races now. Ripon, 310. This is the silver trophy. Gathan Far is 8.0. Citra Major is 9.5. Danzan's 10.0. 11.0 Fortimore. Horses drawn either side of the track. Just a generic question about the draw. Adele, do you have any sort of hard and fast rules about where you want to be drawn at Ripon in the Great Saint Wilfrid or the Silver Trophy?
Usually high. Usually want to be drawn high. They've got the best record, but they have won from low before, and they tend to split. They usually go stand side, far side, and they usually split between the two. Stalls, I think, are stand side, but they have won over. They have won over a number of draws, so you always kind of say wherever the pace is, I suppose. But
I feel like
not the best draw.
I feel like when there is lots of pace low, you can be like, okay.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I tend to look high if that makes sense. And is middle a negative or not necessarily?
They have won up the middle before, and even more so this year. Seemingly, I don't know. I suppose maybe. I think a lot of the jockeys get a little bit maybe fed up being one side or the other, and so we're trying to keep it a bit more fair and staying up the middle. I've noticed that this year at Ripon. So to be honest, I don't know where you want to be.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
Got the best record.
I could go with your first answer. If anywhere, probably high. But as you say, it's not. You can win from anywhere. Go on, Adele. Who do you like and why?
Well, there's quite a few, to be honest with you. Fortemore, honestly, if he he could win this hands down. Like, he's not a bad price at 11.0. He won there last time out, which we're like, thank God he finally got his head in front, because when he won at Ascot last year, you know, that was a competitive race and loads of winners have come out of that. And gone on and won, you know, what again, and twice more, 3 more, and he just never seems to really back it up. But he has got the ability. Paul Hannigan gave him a really good ride there last time. So if he puts his best foot forward, he could win it hands down, no doubt about it. So I will play him at the place market. Obviously, Tim Easterby's got a great record at Ripon. He's having an absolute fantastic season. Interesting that David Allen has actually opted for Bossy Pop because. I mean, you could literally write a case for any of Tim's, but Danzan is the one I quite like, even though he's drawn low. You know, this horse, he's won off a mark of 105 in the past. He hasn't won for quite a while, but he handled Musselburgh. He handles quite sharp tracks. I think he'll be fine at Ripon. So I think I'm going to stick with Danzan. He's been unlucky a few times, and I think it'd be nice to see him get his head back in front, but you couldn't look past any of Tim's horses.
Let me give you an accurate price of Danzang, because I'm not sure I read it out. I instantly like Bossy Pop, the aforementioned one you said. We've got Danzang in there at 8.5, haven't we? Sorry, 10.0 for Danzang for the silver trophy. That's a win and place shout for you, I take it.
Yeah, win and place, and even on Fortemore win and place, like he could easily win it if he wanted to.
Yeah. For Ben Haslam. Bossy Pop for me, who I like the draw in 18, course and distance winner. You tend to know what you're going to get. Was behind Fortemore last time when I know he's got a pull at the weights. Fortemore, fair enough, should be ahead of him in the betting, but I just think, particularly if it comes up quick, and I hope it does come up good to firm, I think we know what we're going to get with David Allen and Bossy Pop. A bit of catch me if you can up that far side. I like horses that are up on the pace here, and I thought was a very fair price, Bossy Pop at 17.0 win and place. Only one in the race for me in the form of Bossy Pop. Jonesy.
All the pace is low numbers. So
except for Bossy Pop.
Bossy Pop, yeah. All the pace is low.
I mean, I just made a case for one pace faster, pace high, but you know, don't worry about that, Steve.
All the pace is low. Do you know what? Big field handicaps, sprint handicaps, you always want to be where the pace is. Or no, I say always. You generally want to be where the pace is. Ripon in these races doesn't matter because you can't come from off the pace. It's impossible to come from off the pace. And you know tomorrow on Saturday both of them will be won by horses held up, but you can't come from off the pace in this race. And for that reason, I hope Cooperation, which I'm getting very little of from you today. I'm hoping that Cooperation will be ridden prominently. Made all at Hamilton in June in a much smaller field. Has the course form as well, having won at Ripon a couple of starts ago. Last time at Doncaster, last of 8, beating 10 lengths. Don't worry about that. Got upset in the stalls, which Cooperation hadn't done before, and completely blew the start. No chance after that. So I'm hoping that there's not a repeat of that, but I don't see why there would be. You go back to Cooperation's 2-year-old form last year, and even the first start this year when he was second to Spycatcher, who then went on and finished third at Ascot to Rohan in that race. I think it's the Commonwealth Cup trial or something. And then second to Creative Force, who obviously went on and has been competitive in Group 1 races. So there's a lot to like about Cooperation's profile, the fact it's progressive. The only blip last time can be excused. I think this has got a great chance. Richard Farley and Paul Hannigan. Is there anyone better in these sort of races? Don't think so. So I really, really like Cooperation.
Tim Easterby.
And I'd like to see a bit more of it, to be honest.
Tim Easterby and David Allen. Do you know what? Go on, Adele. What are you going to say?
I mean, I'm like, no one likes Gaffenthan. Like, he's actually got some of the best form in the race. Like, he wasn't far behind Mr. Wagyu, who went and won down at Goodwood. But when you look through his form, his best form is kind of at York and Doncaster and Redcar. They're kind of quite flat tracks. And it's interesting, no one seems to like him. Because on form wise, like this season, he's probably one of the best ones to follow. But just not sure Ripon is up his street.
Might not be his bag. I obviously want Bossy Pop to win, but also I quite want something to win high from off the pace. And then we'll clip up. Don't worry about that. You can't win from off the pace. Don't worry about that.
I think Baltimore won from off the pace last time, Steve.
Shh,
What?
It's fine.
He likes to follow. He takes lead usually.
You're not getting much cooperation, are you, Steve?
None at all. None at all. But I've got a few bullets up my sleeves, so don't worry about it. They'll be fired in a minute.
All right, let's kick on with the Hungerford Stakes and my one true love, which is Al Sahale, who is steadily not becoming my one true love. Right. Charlie Appleby is well represented in this. Prices, as things stand currently, you've got 3.5 Al Sahale, Daniel 6.5, Mutta Kale 7.0, Sacred 9.0, Dream Loper 11.0. And then we do get stuck into the bigger prices. I'll start with Al Sahale. I napped him last time. He runs this is such a good horse. Like he's a crazy talented horse, Al Sahale. Crazy being the operative word before he was gelded. Sometimes they say that horses, when they have a wind up, right, they need a run to realise that they can breathe again. Do you think when they've been gelded, sometimes they need a run to realise they're not there anymore? Because I need an excuse. I can't do it. I can't back him at 3.5. But I also want to say that I believe he so easily is the best of these potentially. That Newmarket performance last year was outrageous when he beat Mystery Power. The turn of foot he showed. The Lord Glitters run in Group 1 company at Meydan. The first of them was the second one was disappointing, but the first of them was very good, where he just hung a bit. He should have won last time though. Maybe he needed the race. Interesting, they're dropping back in trip, but I can't back him at the current price. Particularly not if it goes good to firm. I think that would be a slight worry. I'm going to have a small bet on Sacred, who I think she doesn't have a huge amount to find. We haven't seen her since the Guineas, when she ran okay, but she probably just didn't stay. That's pretty much what was indicated. They've given her a break. She was a 9 to, she was a 10.0 shot for the Guineas. I think she's a fair price here, back over a more suitable trip. But I hope Al Sahale doesn't beat her, because I adore him, but not today. Adele.
I think a few of these have put up performances where you've kind of sat up and thought, oh, hello. And then obviously then they've gone and put up a couple of under par performances as well. So it's not a massive betting heat for me, but I love Sacred. She was very impressive in the Nelgwen. She's proven, at this level, and she's very attractive, I think, with not only with her age allowance, but with her fillies allowance as well. So she only carries 8 stone 11. She clearly didn't stay in the Guineas, which is surprising because she's obviously bred to get further, but she's won over 5 furlongs. I mean, she was beating her head or something behind You Better Believe It, who was absolutely rapid. She's got loads of speed. So I think back over 7 furlongs, it'll be right up a street. I think you should take the price now, because it won't surprise me if she doesn't shorten up.
So apologies, Adele, because I know you had suggested that you probably would sit it out, but if push Sacred. But I mean, would you, at the current prices, would you look at that and go, yeah, 9.0, I'll take that, or would you still sit it out? You would. All right.
I wouldn't fully I like her. I just think a few of these, it wouldn't surprise me if the first 4 in the betting, any of these could win it really if they put their best foot forward. I just think at the prices, it'd be mad not to have a little place bet on her, and I do think she'll shorten up. But I'd even go a little win bet on her as well. I mean, we've not really seen her much this year, have we? And her only under par run was over a mile. I don't think she stayed, so back down to 7 furlongs. Hopefully that'll see her, put her best foot forward.
Yeah, And I think if she is well back, well, it's a good sign. So you might as well get on board now. You know, we don't know where she is because she's been off for a bit, but I think that's why she's the price she is. Steve.
First of all, the favourite, Elsa Hale, I don't think dropping back to 7 furlongs is particularly in his favour. And last time, you say that was quite a promising run behind Tilsit. I thought it was very interesting. Tilsit and Century Dream over a mile at Ascot on the round course. And that's good form. Century Dream's a very capable Group 2 performer. But the interesting thing was Tilsit, Century Dream and Elsa Hale were the only horses that stayed wide up the side of the track. The others were against the rail, and there had been a bit of rain. And I thought that was significant. And the fact that nothing else could get into it maybe flatters Elsa Hale a little bit. I don't really trust him. Maidan form behind Lord Glitters, I don't trust Maidan form. So I'm happy to take him on. I would have loved to have taken him on with Space Blues, who was in the entries for this and would have won this by a country mile. But instead, Dania is going to win. Always been a nice horse. Had been running really well over a mile, 4th in the Lincoln, 2nd in the Spring Cup at Newbury over a mile. What he did at Ascot when runner-up to Highfield Princess, I thought was very impressive. Didn't have a terrible draw, but didn't have as good a draw as Highfield Princess or others around him, and didn't get the clearest run through. And when he got out in the clear, Highfield Princess had gone, but Daniel was cutting him down all the time, and he was giving a lot of weight away. I should have taken notice of that run and backed him in the International when he made all the running and looked like a proper horse. Was giving the second a 1.5 stone and showed a real good attitude to see it out. I think 7 furlongs is absolutely his trip. He'll be ridden prominently, which I don't think would be a bad thing because I don't think there's a huge amount of pace. And I think he's up to this class. So, Dania.
Quite a lot. That was, it's quite a strong case, Jonesy. I mean, yeah, I'd rather take the Dania price than the Al Sahel price on a sort of trust level. I do agree. Dania's 6.5 and Sacred 9.0 for Adele and I. Right to the last, which is the Great Saint Wilfrid Handicap. If you'd have asked me before, I'd have spelt Wilfrid with an E, but it is with an I. So there you go. 3.45 at Ripon. This is. Prices as follows. Staxton is 8.0. Mr. Wagyu, the brilliant Stewards Cup winner, is 8.0. Music Society 11.0. Soul Seeker 11.0. Lampang 12.0. Then we are into the bigger prices. Go on, Adele, kick us off. How many?
I've got two. I've got two to go with. I mean, Mr. Wagyu, he's hard to go against, isn't he? He just seems to be getting better and better and better with age. So consistent this season. Music Society's been running well. Staxton is obviously, that's his main aim, is to go back to Ripon. But I think Mockatil's a massive price. Do you know a price? Have you got a price for him, Tom? What was he? He must be. He's double figures anyway, isn't he?
We've got 15.0, so it's not huge, but it's big enough for you.
Big enough, yeah. He was obviously back on winning ways when he won the Dash, which was, that was a good performance. He has ran at Ripon. I think he won there as a 2-year-old, so he's got the course form as well. I just think at the prices, I think he'd be mad not to have a bit of a place bet on him and Music Society because he's in great form. Talking to his owners, and he very rarely runs a bad race. I think his main aim is probably to go back up to where, but it wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't in the first 4 either.
I'm going to agree with you on Music Society. So your main two would be Mockatil and Mr. Wagyu, or? Yeah,
probably. Like for a win bet, I'd probably have Mr. Wagyu, and then I'd have a little place bet with the other two.
Okay, Mockatil and Music Society. Perfect. Yeah. I'm going to back Music Society. I don't care where he's drawn. I just think that he's going to win one of these. He should have won at Hamilton. He should have won at York. And then last time it just all went to whatever when he was never in the right position and tried to close and it didn't happen. But he's definitely capable. I mean, he was very well treated at Goodwood, as it turns out. I still think he's capable of this sort of mark, so I just want him on side. Yes, I'd like him drawn slightly differently. The other one I want to back is Gale Force Mayor, who comes out of that Fortimore race last time when Fortimore was last and won from way off the pace. I thought, well, the main angle with her is she did best from up with the pace. So I'm hoping that it develops similarly, but perhaps not quite so much for the closers. As Steve said, I do think you want to be on the speed here. As a rule, that's where I'd want to be. And I thought Gale Force Mayor did best up with the pace last time, and I do like her draw. Steve!
Question for you, clever clogses. What have the last 5 winners of this race all got in common?
Adele's too cleverer than me. She can answer that. Have they made all?
They all made the running. 95 horses have run in the Great Saint Wilfrid in the last 5 years, and the 5 horses that made the running won. How can you possibly come from off the place? It's impossible. It's impossible.
I hate stats because whenever you say something, then they just go to pot. Then that one year.
That's true. That is true. But a rule: if you're playing the long game, you've got to be up with the pace. And Stakston did it last year. He's clearly been set up for this race again. He's only £4 higher, I think, than that win. His record at Ripon is astonishing, and it's quite. I don't know if you've ridden there, Adele, but it's quite undulating. It's ridge and furrow, isn't it? Yeah. So some horses just don't like it because they hit the ridge and then they don't handle the furrow. So it is a bit of a course specialist track. What was the horse that used to win this all the time and run really well in it a few years ago? Pepper Lane was one of them, of David O'Mara's. So it is a specialist track. I know he's towards the head of the market, and I think the horses towards the head of the market, i.e. Stakston and Mr. Wagyu, are very solid. It's my kind of race, this, but I can't get away from Stakston, the fact that he won it last year. He loves the track. He'll be up with the pace, and he'll make all the running again.
And Chris Hodgson agrees. Hi, Chris. Stakston for me, he says. He loves Ripon. And so do I, Chris says. He had a great evening there on Monday. Lovely stuff, Chris. Good luck to you and Jonesy with Stakston, who took it last year. Right, there we go. It's time for the best bets. So, in fact, I'm going to tell you about insights.matchbook.com first of all. That's going to be up this afternoon. So they're all the best bets. They're all the recaps of all the horses that we've put up today. So if you we'll tweet it out. If you don't have time to listen to the pod or rewatch it back, you can go to insights.matchbook.com for all of our selections and all the recaps on our bets. Right, best bets then. Steve, your best bet, sir.
A bit of cooperation. You all need it.
Cooperation for you. Your best bet, Adele.
I'm hoping you're going to let me stay at Ripon, but go for a different race that we haven't covered.
Yes, I love it. Are you going to be at? Are you at Ripon on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm there. I'll be there.
Love it. Go on. Yeah. Who is it?
I'm going to go for a horse called Taj Al Riyadh of Carl Burks, runs in the 240. I'm hoping. I don't know if you've got a price on him, because I'm hoping he's not going to be favourite. Maybe Robert Cowles is, because I'm hoping we're going to get a better price. But he's been very promising. What we've seen, he's won twice at Catterick. Spoke to Carl Burke about him a few times. He thinks very highly of him. I think if he handles Catterick, he'll handle Ripon.
I would imagine that Dynamic Force, based on the air performance, will probably head the betting. But Taj Al Riyadh will be second in, because the other two are newcomers. So you think this is a nice 2-year-old, basically?
He is. Honestly, he's a gorgeous looking horse. The pick of the paddock, the both times he's run at Catterick, as I said, he's handled there, which is, it is quite undulating. Catterick, it can be, they run downhill and then uphill, so should be fine at Ripon. He's a really nice horse. Taj
Al Riyadh for you in the 240 at Ripon, and I am going to go with Gale Force Maya in the Great Saint Wilfrid. Gale Force Maya, far side on the speed, done. That's the plan anyway. Thanks very much, guys. Lovely stuff. Adele, we've got you Tuesday next week before we get stuck into the Welcome to Yorkshire Ebor Festival.
Yeah, perfect. Looking forward to it.
Lovely stuff. Jonesy, what day are you back next week?
Oh, no idea.
You're on one of them.
It's probably my performance this weekend. It all hinges on it.
It does. I would imagine it'll be the Thursday. So Thursday we are previewing the Friday, Saturday, Tuesday we're going to preview the Wednesday, Thursday of York, Nunthorpe, Jubbont International, Yorkshire Cup, and the Ebor belting week. Can't wait for it. Hopefully we'll bolster those accounts for you this weekend with some winners. Thanks guys. Thanks for watching. All the best. Bye bye.